Before I start this video, I want to be completely clear about something. I'm not an Andrew Tate fan. I don't promote him. I don't follow him. I think a significant amount of what he says is genuinely dangerous, especially for the young men who don't have the critical thinking to filter what's useful from what's toxic. But I would be lying to you, and I don't lie on this show. If I told you he got everything wrong because he didn't, there's one thing Andrew Tate said that's completely undeniably true. And I think the reason it resonates with millions of people, especially young men, isn't because Tate is smart. It's because nobody else was sent. That tells us something very important about the world we are living in right now. So today we are going to talk about it, all of it. What he got right, what he got catastrophically wrong, and what young men actually need to hear that nobody, not Tate, not his critics, is saying. Let's go. First, let's understand why Andrew Tate became one of the most searched people on the internet. Because I think most people skip this part, and if you skip this part, you miss the whole point. Andrew Tate didn't create a problem. He identified one that already existed and built an empire on top of it. Here's the problem he identified. A generation of young men are growing up feeling lost, purposeless, and like the world has no place for them. They are watching their peers struggle. They are seeing the traditional markers of success: good job, stable life, clear path forward disappearing. They are being told what they should be without anyone telling them how to actually build something real. And into that vacuum, Andrew Tate walked in and said, "You should want more. You should be more. Stop accepting mediocrity. Go make money. Be strong. Have standards." Now, the way he said it was often wrong. The context he wrapped around it was often toxic. The specific advice was frequently harmful. At the core of it, the idea that young men deserve to be challenged to actually build something with their lives, that's not wrong. That's just true. And the fact that millions of young men responded to it the way they did tells you everything about how starved they were for someone to say it. That's why Tate happened. Not because he's brilliant, because the gap was enormous. And he was the first person willing to jump into it. So, what is the one thing Andrew Tate got right? The idea that you are responsible for your own life. Not your circumstances, not your government, not your parents, not the economy, not the system. You. Now I know that sounds simple, almost obvious. But here's why it matters so much and why so many people needed to hear it. We live in a culture right now that has become very comfortable with the idea that your outcomes are someone else's fault. And look, I'm not dismissing real systemic issues. They exist, they are real, and I'm not ignoring that. But here's the dangerous thing that happens. When you spend all your time focused on external blame, you give away power. Because if the reason your life isn't what you want, is someone else's, then solution is also in someone else's hand. And you become passive. You wait, you complain, you explain why things can't change. And your life stays exactly the same. The people I've seen actually build something, actually change their circumstances. They all share one belief. They all share one belief. Not that the world is fair, not that the system is perfect, not that they had every advantage. They believe that regardless of what the world is doing, their response to it is their responsibility. Their effort is their responsibility. Their decisions are their responsibilities. Their future is their responsibility. That's it. That's the thing Tate got right. And I will give him credit for it. Because someone needed to say it loudly. The problem is everything he wrapped around it. Okay, now let's talk about the other side. Because this is where I have serious problem with what Tate has built. And I want to be specific here. Not just he's bad, he's toxic, but exactly what the damage looks like. Problem one. He turned responsibility into arrogance. There is a massive difference between I am responsible for my life and I am superior to people who haven't figured this out. Tate took a healthy idea, personal responsibility, and weaponized it into an identity of superiority. His message became, if you are struggling, you're weak. If you are not rich, you're a loser. If you don't live like me, you don't understand life. That's not empowerment. That's ego dressed up as philosophy. And young men who absorb that framework don't just become more motivated, they become more isolated, more arrogant, less capable of genuine connection, less capable of asking for help when they need it. Because asking for help in Tate's world is a weakness. And that is genuinely dangerous. Problem two. His definition of success is embarrassingly narrow. According to Tate, success is cars, money, women, and status. That's it. And I want to ask you something seriously. Do you know anyone who has those things and is genuinely at peace? Real success, I mean this, is not a Bugatti. It's building something meaningful. It's having relationships that are real. It's going to sleep at night without running from yourself. It's being someone your family is actually proud of, not just impressed by. Tate's version of success is a performance. It's designed to be seen. And a life designed to be seen is not a life being lived. Problem three, his treatment and framing of women. I'm going to say this clearly and move on. Any philosophy that teaches men to view women as objects, as inferior, as things to be controlled, is not masculinity. It is insecurity with a marketing budget. Strong men don't need to diminish others to feel powerful. That's the most important thing I can say about this. Problem four, the business model of fear and inadequacy. Here's something nobody talks about. Andrew Tate makes money by making young men feel like they are not enough and then selling them a solution. It's the same business model as every insecurity based brand. Make you feel broken, sell you the fix. His courses, his programs, his content, all of it is built on the foundation of you are losing. I can teach you how to win. The irony is the one thing he got right about personal responsibility is completely undermined by a business model that depends on you feeling like a victim who needs his specific help. That's not someone who believes in you. That's someone who profits from your self doubt. Okay, so if not Tate, what do young men actually need? Because here's the real conversation. The reason Tate has the audience he has is not because his content is good. It's because there is a genuine crisis among young men right now. Loneliness is at the record levels. Purpose is harder to find than any previous generation. The traditional roadmap, school, job, family, feels broken or inaccessible to millions of people. And young men are drowning in that, without language to describe it and without communities that address it honestly. Tate filled that gap badly, but he filled it. So what should fill it instead? First, First, the same core message. You are responsible for your life. That part is true and needs to stay. Second, but responsibilities without comparison is just judgment. You can hold yourself to high standards without becoming someone who has contempt. For people who are struggling, the best men I know, the ones who are genuinely strong, are also the most compassionate. Compassionate. Strength that can't afford to be kind is just fragility, wearing armor. Third, redefine what you are actually building toward. Don't build toward impressing strangers, build toward something that would matter. If nobody was watching, a skill that makes you genuinely valuable, relationships that are real and deep, standard integrity that you maintain even when there's no audience. That's what masculinity actually looks like. Not a car, not a Cobra Tate pose. A man who has built something real inside and outside. Fourth, get around real people. The most dangerous thing about online figures like Tate is that they replace real community. Young men are consuming content instead of building genuine connection. You cannot get what you actually need from a screen, not from Tate, not from me. You need real people, real conversations, real relationships with people who know you, not a version of you that you perform online. So here's where I land on Andrew Tate. He identifies a real problem. He had one real insight inside of all of it. Personal responsibilities matters enormously. Personal responsibilities matter enormously, and he packaged it into something so toxic, so ego-driven, so commercially cynical that the one true thing got buried under a mountain of harmful messaging. The young men who followed him and took the responsibility message and left the arrogance, the misogyny, the shallow definition of success behind, those guys actually got something valuable. The ones who absorb the whole package. I worry about them because you cannot build a real life on a foundation of superiority, contempt, and a definition of success that was designed to be sold to you. Here's what I want to say directly to you, especially if you are young, especially if you have felt lost, especially if Tate's messages resonated with you at some point. That feeling of wanting more, of wanting to be stronger, more capable, more in control of your own life, that's real and it's good. Don't let anyone talk you out of that hunger. Because be careful who you let feed it. Makes sure the person feeding you your make sure the person feeding your ambition actually wants something good for you and isn't just selling you an identity in exchange for your attention and your money. You deserve real answers, not a performance of strength. Real answers. That's my honest take. Let me know yours in the comments. Do you think Tate helps or hurts young people? I want to hear the real arguments, not just the takes. Subscribe if you want more conversations like this. I will see you in the next.